Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I am so glad you are here. The world outside can wait. This story cannot. Think about a meal you know well. Fried chicken, hot and golden. The smell fills the whole room. And next to it, a plate of fries, crispy, warm, soft inside. Children smile when they see it. You know this smell. You have known it your whole life. But do you know where it came from? You are listening to HitoCast, right here on YouTube. And today, we discover how a bitter, forgotten root became the most powerful food in human history. A food that fed revolutions. A food that caused one of the greatest tragedies the world has ever seen. A food that is sitting in your kitchen right now. If you want more stories like this one, quiet, true, and worth your time, subscribe to HitoCast. It takes 1 second, and it means everything. 10,000 years ago, something remarkable happened. In the high mountains of South America, in Peru, in Bolivia, the first human hands reached down into cold, rocky soil. They pulled up a small, bitter root. They looked at it. They saw something others could not see. Potential. The Quechua lived in the high Andes. Their hands were calloused from the cold earth. They were farmers, but not ordinary ones. They were farmers who worked at 14,000 feet above the sea. That is very high. Most crops cannot grow there. But the potato could. And so they began. Slowly, carefully, over thousands of years, they changed this wild plant. They made it grow in cold soil. They made it grow in poor soil. They made it grow where nothing else could live. Can you imagine? 10,000 years of work, a single plant slowly transformed. The Inca did something else. They made it safe. Wild potatoes contain poison, bitter poison. But the Inca discovered something remarkable. If you freeze the potato at night and walk on it in the morning and dry it in the sun, the poison leaves. What remains is food, clean food, food that can last for 15 years. They called it chuño. It was their secret, their gift from the mountain gods. But the world did not know this yet. In the 1530s, Spanish soldiers came to these mountains. They came for gold. They came for silver. They did not come for potatoes. They saw the potato. They laughed. They called it food for peasants. They carried some back to Spain. They put it in monastery gardens. They grew it for its flowers, beautiful purple and white flowers. For 150 years, Europe refused to eat it. But Europe stayed silent. For 150 years, the potato waited. Why? Because the potato belonged to a family of plants that also made poison. Deadly plants. Mandrake, belladonna. These were dangerous plants, and the potato, people believed, was dangerous too. In France, they called it the devil's apple. They said it caused leprosy. They said it caused terrible diseases. Priests spoke against it. Kings tried. But the people still refused. But one king would not give up. His name was Frederick, King Frederick of Prussia. He was a serious man. He was worried. His people were hungry. Grain did not grow well in the cold north, but the potato could grow there. So he made a plan, a very clever plan. He planted a large field of potatoes. He put soldiers around the field to protect it, but the soldiers were told to look the other way at night. And then he waited. The people saw the soldiers. They saw the protection. They thought, if the king protects something this carefully, it must be valuable. Under the cover of darkness, they crept into the field. They stole the potatoes. They planted them in their own gardens. Frederick caught them. He punished them. He punished them with more potatoes. Within a few years, potatoes grew everywhere in Prussia. Can you imagine? A king who used guards to sell his idea. A king who made stealing feel like winning. Now the potato began to spread, slowly, quietly, across Europe. It reached Ireland. It reached Germany. It reached Poland. It reached Russia. And something extraordinary happened. Populations began to grow. But was this a blessing, or was this a warning? Why? Because the potato was extraordinary. 1 acre of potatoes fed twice as many people as 1 acre of wheat. It grew in bad soil. It needed little care. You dug it up, you boiled it, you ate. In Ireland, the change was dramatic. In 1800, 5 million people lived there. By 1840, there were 8 million. Can you imagine? The population almost doubled in 40 years, all because of one plant. The Irish called it their famine-ending food. For a time it was. But something was also going wrong. Farmers stopped growing other things. They stopped growing oats. They stopped growing barley. They grew only potatoes. One kind of potato, a variety called the lumper. It was easy to grow. It was productive. But it was also... Everyone grew the same thing, the same plant, the same genes. They did not know it then, but they had built something fragile, something that looked strong, but was not. In 1845, a ship arrived at the port of Liverpool. Nobody knew what it carried. Invisible, silent, deadly. The ship carried a fungus, a tiny, terrible fungus. It traveled on the wind. It traveled on the boots of farmers. It traveled on the rain. When it touched a potato plant, the plant turned black. The leaves fell. The roots rotted. Inside the ground, the potatoes became soft, wet, useless. It arrived in Ireland in September 1845. Within weeks, half the potato crop was gone. By October, the harvest was destroyed. And then, it came back. In 1846, it returned. It came back stronger. It came back hungry. The entire potato crop died. 1 million people died. Not from the fungus, from hunger, from weakness, from cold, from diseases that come when the body has nothing left. They died in their homes. They died in the streets. They died in places called workhouses, places where the poor went to die. Children were too weak to cry. Their eyes were open, but there was no light left in them. And still, food was leaving Ireland. Grain ships traveled from Irish ports to England. Livestock walked to ships that would carry them to markets abroad. The food was there. It was growing. It was leaving. Why? Because of rules called the Corn Laws. These laws kept foreign grain expensive. British leaders believed, they truly believed, that if they helped Ireland, they would hurt England. So they did nothing. Or almost nothing. People began to run. They climbed onto ships with no windows, no air, no food. The ships were called coffin ships. Many who sailed never arrived. Those who survived landed in America, in Boston, in New York, in places far from home. They did not know the language. They did not know the streets, but they kept going. The Irish diaspora, the scattering of the Irish across the world, changed everything. It changed America. It changed England. It changed Australia. The Irish were everywhere, and they carried their pain with them, and they carried their strength with them too. But the potato was not finished. It traveled east. It traveled to Russia. Stalin loved the potato. It grew in cold soil. It fed his workers. It fed his armies. It became a symbol of Soviet strength. It traveled to space. In the 1960s, NASA put potatoes in astronauts' diets, freeze-dried potatoes. The humble tuber floated through the cosmos. In 1995, scientists tried something remarkable. They grew potatoes in soil that was like Mars. They wanted to know, could potatoes feed future colonists on other planets? The answer was yes. Today, China grows more potatoes than any other country. India is second. Rwanda, a small country in Africa, uses potatoes to rebuild after terrible tragedy. Women in Afghanistan grow potatoes and change their lives. The potato is everywhere. It is the fourth largest food crop on Earth, 376 million tons every year. But here is the quiet truth, the one thing this story has been teaching us. The Andean farmers, the Quechua, the Aymara, they never made this mistake. Never. For 10,000 years, they grew thousands of different varieties. They planted different potatoes in different fields at different heights. When one variety died, others lived. They understood something. A single solution is beautiful, but a single solution is also dangerous. The Irish did not mean to depend so completely on the lumper. They simply wanted food that worked, food that was easy, food that fed their children. But ease became dependence. Dependence became silence, the silence of genetic sameness. Modern farms grow fewer varieties than ever before. The same potato travels across continents. The same weakness travels with it. Somewhere, in a cold Norwegian mountain, there is a building. Inside, 13,000 varieties of potatoes. Frozen. Safe. Waiting. It is humanity's memory. Humanity's apology. We know now. But we keep making the same choices. And you, my friend, maybe you know this feeling too. The feeling of putting everything into one thing, one plan, one hope, one path. The potato did not choose to be everything to the Irish. The Irish did not choose to need it so desperately. But they did. And when it broke, everything broke. Perhaps you are not carrying a potato. Perhaps you are carrying something else. A dream, a plan, a person, a hope. There is no shame in that. We all carry something. But perhaps today, you can also carry something small, something quiet, something that says, if this one thing breaks, there is also this and this. The Irish diaspora scattered across the world. They survived, not because they were strong, but because they were not alone. And the quiet thing inside them, the one that kept going, that was not small. That had always been enough. The potato feeds the world. It has for 10,000 years. But it has also taught the world something. Something about dependence. Something about hope. Something about what happens when we place our faith in a single thing. A single plant from the Andes fed half of Europe. And when it failed, it did not fail alone. We failed with it. Next time you walk into a KFC, the smell of fried chicken everywhere, warm and rich, a box of golden fries on your tray, remember this. That humble little thing traveled 10,000 years to reach your table. It crossed oceans. It saved lives. It changed history. And it is still here, on your tray, in your hands, familiar, simple, quietly extraordinary. Take care of yourself. I will see you soon with another story.